Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Jamuna Tira Vanam Sari Jamuna Tira Vanam Sari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Jamuna Tira Vanam Sari Jamuna Tira Vanasari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Hare Kṛṣṇa Hare Kṛṣṇa 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Kṛṣṇa Hare Kṛṣṇa 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Jaya Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Premanande Daim Vishupad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Stotra Satta Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Charanarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Skandi Biti Founder Chariots Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Samavata Bhakta Vrinda Ki Harinama Sankirtana Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Pimanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and to Sri Gauranga. All glories to Sri Prabhupada Ki. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Taksurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Parakamalam Sri Gurung Vaishnavam Scha Sri Rupam Sagradatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakandritam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Nara, Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayasabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samitam Utamashloka Charitam Sakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreyasaya Lokasya Dhanyam Swasyayanam Mahat. The Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all transcendental knowledge, king of Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, the Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people, it is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara, Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Sarabhyai Namaha. Om Sarabhyai Namaha. Om Sarabhyai Namaha. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yatkripat maham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Yat kripat maham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Welcome to our morning Bhagavatam class. We are reading from Canto number 1, chapter 10, entitled Departure of Lord Kṛṣṇa for Dvārakā. We've been hearing in the last few days the description, very brief description of the King Yudhiṣṭhira Mahārāja's ruling after the Battle of Kurukshetra. As we know, he was enthroned as the new emperor, not only as king, but as the emperor of the world. And Sutta Goswami is relating to Shonaka Rishi how he ruled the world based on principles of dharma. And because of his ruling, everyone was happy. No one got any headaches or stomach aches, as is common today. The whole planet was flourishing. The cows were happy. They were so happy that they were dropping milk as they were walking around, and the whole earth was permeated with white water, milk. Actually, nowadays we have a hard time putting water in the ground. The earth is becoming more and more arid or desert-like. So in we call bygone days, in previous days, long ago, some of this was also prevalent even in Kali Yuga. Before our whole experimental modern era of modernization kicked in a couple of hundred years ago, people in the villages here in India, and I'm sure in other countries also, were actually living at least some remnants of that culture that we hear about, that we read in the Bhagavatam, was still existing. For example, every single family, practically speaking, every family had cows. Not only one cow, not only two cows, but 10, 15, 30 cows, every family. And the whole life was centered around looking after cows, because when we look after cows properly, we look after the land. This was the beginning of one of the purports given by Srila Prabhupada, that the whole Vedic economic development, all of the economic needs of society are met by these two things only: cows and land. If we have cows and if we have land, all our problems are solved. But if we also have proper knowledge how to how to not exploit the cows and how not to exploit Mother Bhumi or the land. So there are more elaborate descriptions of this lifestyle in various parts of our Vedic literatures, especially when describing in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, Srila Vyasadeva describes the daily pastimes of Kṛṣṇa in Vrindavan, and how every day the cowherd boys, headed by Kṛṣṇa and Balaram, they would go from one forest to another, taking hundreds, thousands of cows with them. And so that was the very simple and natural lifestyle where everyone's material needs were met very easily. Everyone was fully satisfied physically, psychologically, as well as spiritually, because everyone was focused on simply serving and pleasing Kṛṣṇa. When Kṛṣṇa is pleased, the whole world becomes pleased as well. So yesterday's verse was number 7. Yes. Logically, today will be 8. Yes. So we were reading how Sri Kṛṣṇa, on the request of all of his friends and relatives, had stayed a few extra days in Hastinapur to give his good association, especially to his sister, Subhadra Devi, who, as we know, had lost her one and only son, Abhimanyu, in the battle of Kurukshetra. And he also consoled Dhritarashtra. He was the only survivor, actually. All of his sons died in the battle of Kurukshetra. So both Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, she was greatly afflicted because of having lost not only one son. I mean, Subhadra Devi lost one son. Gandhari lost 100 sons, all of her sons. So after spending some time, then Kṛṣṇa is now about to leave for Hastinapur. Yes. And this is our text today, text number 8, just to put things, yes, in perspective. A lot of commotion. What's happening there? Oh, I thought you were just coming from there. Anyways, I think it should be all right. Āmantrya cābhyanujñātaḥ pariṣvajyābhivādya tam āruroha rathaṁ kaiścit pariṣvakto bhivāditaḥ. Everything in control? Yes. That didn't sound like it. Okay. Āmantrya cābhyanujñātaḥ
āmantrya cābhyanujñātaḥ
pariṣvajyābhivādyatam
pariṣvajyābhivādyatam
āruroha rathaṁ kaiścit
āruroha rathaṁ kaiścit
pariṣvakto bhivāditaḥ
pariṣvakto bhivāditaḥ
āmantrya cābhyanujñātaḥ
āmantrya cābhyanujñātaḥ
pariṣvajyābhivādyatam
pariṣvajyābhivādyatam
āruroha rathaṁ kaiścit
āruroha rathaṁ kaiścit
pariṣvakto bhivāditaḥ
pariṣvakto bhivāditaḥ
pariṣvakto bhivāditaḥ
pariṣvakto bhivāditaḥ
āmantrya cābhyanujñātaḥ
āmantrya cābhyanujñātaḥ
pariṣvajyābhivādyatam
pariṣvajyābhivādyatam
āruroha rathaṁ kaiścit
āruroha rathaṁ kaiścit
pariṣvakto bhivāditaḥ
pariṣvakto bhivāditaḥ
Bolo.
āmantrya cābhyanujñātaḥ āmantrya cābhyanujñātaḥ pariṣvajyābhivādyatam pariṣvajyābhivādyatam āruroham rathaṁ kaiścit āruroham rathaṁ kaiścit pariṣvakto bhivāditaḥ pariṣvakto bhivāditaḥ
āmantrya cābhyanujñātaḥ
āmantrya cābhyanujñātaḥ
pariṣvajyābhivādyatam
pariṣvajyābhivādyatam
āruroha rathaṁ kaiścit
āruroha rathaṁ kaiścit
pariṣvakto bhivāditaḥ
pariṣvakto bhivāditaḥ
āmantrya cābhyanujñātaḥ
āmantrya cābhyanujñātaḥ
pariṣvajyābhivādyatam
pariṣvajyābhivādyatam
āruha rathaṁ kaiścit
āruroha rathaṁ kaiścit
pariṣvakto bhivāditaḥ
pariṣvakto bhivāditaḥ
āmantrya cābhyanujñātaḥ
āmantrya cābhyanujñātaḥ
pariṣvajyābhivādyatam
pariṣvajyābhivādyatam
āruroha rathaṁ kaiścit
āruroha rathaṁ kaiścit
pariṣvakto bhivāditaḥ
pariṣvakto bhivāditaḥ
Okay. Āmantrya,
āmantrya
taking permission.
taking permission
Cha, and abhyanujñātaḥ,
abhyanujñātaḥ
being permitted.
being permitted
Pariṣvajya,
pariṣvajya
embracing.
embracing
Abhivādya,
abhivādya
bowing down at the feet.
bowing down at the feet
Tam,
tam
unto Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira.
unto Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira
Āruroha,
āruroha
ascended.
ascended
Rathaṁ,
rathaṁ
the chariot.
the chariot
Kaiścit,
kaiścit
by someone.
by someone
Pariṣvaktaḥ,
pariṣvaktaḥ
being embraced.
being embraced
Abhivāditaḥ,
bhivāditaḥ
being offered obeisances.
being offered obeisances.
A translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki.
Jai.
Afterwards, when the Lord asked permission to depart, and the king gave it, the Lord offered his respects to Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira by bowing down at his feet, and the king embraced him. After this, the Lord, being embraced by others and receiving their obeisances, got into his chariot. Kindly repeat after me. Afterwards,
Afterwards,
when the Lord asked permission
when the Lord asked permission
to depart,
to depart,
and the king gave it,
and the king gave it,
the Lord offered
Lord offered
his respects
his respects
to Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira
Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira
by bowing down at his feet,
by going down at his feet,
and the king embraced him.
and the king embraced him.
After this, the Lord,
After this, the Lord,
being embraced by others
being embraced by others,
and receiving their obeisances,
and receiving their obeisances,
got into his chariot.
got into his chariot.
Purport. Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira was the elder cousin of Lord Kṛṣṇa, and therefore, while departing from him, the Lord bowed down at the king's feet. The king embraced him as a younger brother, although the king knew perfectly well that Kṛṣṇa is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord takes pleasure when some of his devotees accept him as less important in terms of love. No one is greater than or equal to the Lord, but he takes pleasure in being treated as younger than his devotees. These are all transcendental pastimes of the Lord. The impersonalist cannot enter into the supernatural roles played by the devotee of the Lord. Thereafter, Bhima and Arjuna embraced the Lord because they were of the same age, but Nakula and Sahadeva bowed down before the Lord because they were younger than he. Translation again. Afterwards, when the Lord asked permission to depart, and the king gave it, the Lord offered his respects to Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira by bowing down at his feet, and the king embraced him. After this, the Lord, being embraced by others and receiving their obeisances, got into his chariot. So here we get a little glimpse. We get again and again constant glimpses, we could say, of different aspects of the Vedic culture. If we say Vedic culture, we're always referring to the Vedic culture. We're always encouraging people to study, to learn, and to actually take up the Vedic culture. Because Vedic culture actually is, we could say, an eternal culture, because it's based on the principles of Sanatan Dharma. And Sanatan, of course, means eternal. So this culture actually is very, very attractive because it's very, we say, refined. It's a very refined culture, very subtle. Everything in relation to the Vedic culture, we're getting some examples here. For example, Kṛṣṇa, we were talking about this actually the other day. He asked permission. He asked permission to return to Dvārakā. And it's only after he got permission to depart that he actually began to leave. And here we see the wonderful exchange of love and affection between Kṛṣṇa and especially the Pandavas and other members, of course, of the royal family. It is not only because Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj was now enthroned as the king that Kṛṣṇa bowed to him, but because he was also elderly. He was older. He was the eldest of the Pandavas. He was older than Kṛṣṇa. So there's a whole, we call etiquette, So therefore we have a course that is called Vaishnav etiquette. We should find someone who can give that as part of our Varnashram semester. Vaishnav etiquette, very important. In our society, it was His Holiness Bhakti Maharaj who used to give courses on Vaishnav etiquette. And he was the ideal person actually to give that course because he was from actually cultured Bengali background. And it was just like natural, for him to give such a course because he was living, he was, we could say, the living example of Vaishnav etiquette. Always very, very polite when dealing with others, very concerned, very caring, isn't it? Very loving. Because by nature we are all seeking and also needing this type of love and affection, which we cannot get in the material world, in material relationships, and therefore we have a lot of broken hearts in the material world. A lot of bleeding hearts, broken hearts, and no one is happy because we have not learned, as Prabhupada would nicely explain, we have not learned where to repose, where to actually give our loving propensity. Everyone, all of us, we have this loving propensity. And it is wonderfully displayed actually in the Lord's dealings with his devotees. So Kṛṣṇa offered his obeisances, his pranam to Kṛṣṇa, who was, Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj was senior to him. And then he embraced both Bhima and Arjuna, who were about his same age. And then Nakula and Sahadeva, because they were younger, they touched the lotus feet of Lord Kṛṣṇa. So Prabhupada explains in the purport how this is something that can only be understood by the devotees of the Lord, who understand that he is enacting very wonderful and very, we could say, confidential and intimate pastimes. One of the purposes for the Lord's appearance in the material world, paritaranaya sadhanam vinashaya saduskritam madharma samstapanarthaya. It is actually explained that this is the primary reason, because killing demons, one lightning can finish a demon immediately. There's so many different calamities that are taking place, that can take place, that do take place, especially nowadays in Kali Yuga, in the material world, that finishes off so many demons very quickly. Kṛṣṇa doesn't have to bother doing that personally. And establishing dharma, he has so many powerful incarnations. He has so many powerful devotees who also can come and do come in the material world to help reestablish the principles of dharma. But to actually exchange with his devotees and to show them, to actually awaken within them this dormant propensity for loving exchanges. There's no one more expert than Kṛṣṇa, than Kṛṣṇa himself, because he is the source, rasa samudra. That is one of the tattvas that we find in our Vaishnava Shastra, especially. Actually, there's the very unique feature of the teachings. You cannot find that in other writings, especially you cannot find that in the writings of impersonalists. This whole realm, this whole dimension of the loving exchanges that Kṛṣṇa displays with his devotees is really the domain, very exclusively reserved for, actually confidential devotees. That means that when Kṛṣṇa appears, he displays, of course, especially in Vrindavan. Vrindavan is important for many, many reasons. One of the most important reasons, of course, the Lord displays fully all of his different dealings and interactions with his devotees. And of course, he teaches on all levels as well. So Krishna confirms in the Bhagavad Gita that all of his activities, whether they are in Vrindavan or whether they are in Dvārakā, whether they are on the battle of Kurukshetra, whether they are in Mathura, all of his activities are dibyam, janma karma samid dibyam. And if we can begin to understand and to accept and to relish these wonderful activities and wonderful pastimes of the Lord, then at the time of leaving this body, we are guaranteed not to again take birth in the material world and to return to Krishna's eternal abode. So this is what we are endeavoring to do, actually, isn't it? Number one, we are trying ourselves, or we should be trying ourselves, to become a little cultured, because most of us, I guess I should speak for myself, but anyone who is not born in India, especially in Kali Yuga, is generally uncultured. So welcome to India for those who are from outside of India. But Kali Yuga is so powerful that even in India, although one is born in India, the original culture has been extensively damaged. And so we're all, victims. We're all victims of Kali Yuga, even those born in Brahmana families. So, because real Brahmana families, we come to know from Shastra, one can claim to be born in a Brahmana family if one can establish that for the last 7 generations, it is there recorded in my local temple that all of my members of this lineage, they have followed all the samskaras. We still find, I think in South India, in some of the larger temples, that's one of the activities or duties or services of Brahmanas. They keep record, who got married to who was the father, who was the grandfather, and how many samskaras were performed, So if one can establish for the last 7 generations that all of the samskaras, beginning with Garbhadhana samskara, were performed by qualified brahmanas, then one can claim to be born in a Brahmana family. That's why it is said that Kalo Shudra Sambhava. In Kali Yuga, everyone is born Shudra. But there's hope. No one should become, even for those who are not born in India, and even those who are not born in Brahmana families in India, there is all hope because of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his followers. Yeah, Hari Bol. Otherwise, it's like we are like practically eternally doomed. So this is a great, boon of the Krishna consciousness movement. This is the greatest benediction that is actually awaiting the whole world. The whole world is waiting for this knowledge of Krishna consciousness. The whole world is waiting for this Vaishnava culture, Vedic culture, the culmination, the topmost level, the topmost manifestation of Vedic culture is Vaishnava culture, isn't it? Because even there's something higher than Brahmana culture. Brahmana culture is already included within Vaishnava culture, isn't it? The Brahmanical qualities that one is meant to develop as a Brahmana are already, Haribol, are already contained, built in, you know, anyone who takes up Vaishnava culture. And the beauty is that regardless of one's position in society, either as a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra, any one of those members, by taking up the practice of Vedic culture, which begins especially in Kali Yuga with the chanting of the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's a wonderful way to kind of become more alert and present, yeah. Then everyone who is fortunate to come in contact with this culture, with this knowledge, that means with anyone who's wearing tilak, then one can begin his journey back home, back to Godhead, out of this material world, which is certified as a place of misery, isn't it? So therefore, we need, Prabhupada actually explained how the Krishna consciousness movement is a cultural movement, not just something religion. Religion, nowadays people are not interested, because in the name of religion we've messed up the whole world, and we continue to create so many problems for so many people in the name of religion. So we have to go beyond religion. Religion is something that is generally ends up being simply sentimental. Therefore, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he would say that religion without philosophy is mere sentiment that ends up in what? Fanaticism. One generally, not generally, but very often people of different religions end up being fanatics. Fanaticism. And of course that clashes, one fanatic very easily clashes with another fanatic. So religion without philosophy is simply sentiment which ends up in fanaticism, whereas philosophy without religion is mere mental speculation, which ends up in no proper solution or understanding. So there needs to be this natural marriage, this natural connection of religion, religious principles, and also philosophy. And that is perfectly found in the Vedic culture, in the Vedic teachings, especially the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually, of all the Vedic knowledge, just like Krishna is telling, Vedaisya sarvayar aham eva vedyo vedanta krit vedavid eva saham. That if we don't come to that understanding, Kṛṣṇastu Bhagavan Swayam, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then all of our reading and study of the Vedic literatures is to no avail. And of course, most people don't even know the word Veda, what to speak of studying the Vedas, isn't it? So this is our task. This is our mission. Our mission is the Lord's mission, to provide this knowledge to the whole world. And there's a whole process, there's a whole plan, which is actually revealed by the Lord and executed by his various representatives, the acharyas. So therefore, Guru Parampara, if we need to be attentive to the teachings that are descending in Guru Parampara from one qualified authority, means our Vaishnavacharyas, and all of this has been nicely given to us, presented to us by our founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, Srila Prabhupada, and we simply need to hear through his various instructions what he has given. The whole complete formula is there in the Shastra, elaborated upon by his confidential devotees, the acharyas, and a very integral, important, essential also part of all this is Gurukula. And Gurukula is in Samadhi right now. Our Gurukul boy is in Samadhi. He's probably not used to getting up so early. Where am I going this morning? So we are getting glimpses again of not only when we read the Bhagavatam, but Krishna is arranging so many things actually that we're not even aware of, as the expression is there, the hidden hand of the Lord. Krishna is working behind the scenes. He's making so many arrangements that we're not even aware of because we're so dull. Dull. We're so dull. And therefore, we need to be more alert and more conscious. The more conscious and alert we become, we can see some of these hidden signs. They become actually revealed in different ways. And it's happening. It's like, sometimes people and even devotees will say, well, the whole world is like looking real bad. And it is, of course. But at the same time, we need to see that so many positive things are happening, are taking place in so many countries. People are getting every single day, practically every single moment, somebody is hearing about Krishna. Somebody is receiving a book. Somebody is bumping into somebody who has tilak. I don't want to rub it in too much. And so many opportunities every single day, every single moment of every single day. People in Kali Yuga, because of the advent of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his followers, who are still here today and trying to present and give out that mercy of Lord Chaitanya in so many different ways. And one of the important ways, of course, is through knowledge, through education, through Vedic knowledge, through Vedic education in the form of Gurukula, right behind us, in the form of cows, also right behind us. I see the foundation is coming up for the Goshala. So it'll be very pleasant within, hopefully, a relatively short time. Although the camera is facing that way, we may want to change it around sometimes so that our audience will also have darshan of Mother Surabhi, of the cows, and occasionally be hearing Moo. I mean, a real one. So we are surrounded by Tulsi Devi. I mean, literally. Our pujari, it was very interesting actually. A few months back, our head pujari, who's not here right now, Raja Shekhar Prabhu, who's coming, what date? Soon, 17th or something. Maybe one day before our Varnashram courses begin, him and his family. So he was telling me one day, he says, Maharaj, when I first came here, a couple of years ago, I had to walk all the way in the community, our neighbor community, Rasamrita Kunj, to get tulsi, leaves, to get for offering to the Lord. We didn't have any tulsi here. And now it's like on this side, on that side, right beside the kutir also, my kutir, the tulsi is like present. Yeah. So having darshan of tulsi, now our Krishna Balaram garden, the whole purpose of the garden is actually to manifest as many flowers that grow in Vrindavan as possible. We need to make a special effort to actually get those types of plants, those types of flowers that are especially in Vrindavan, so that we become surrounded by what is in Vrindavan, so that we can think of Vrindavan, so that we can live in Vrindavan. Actually, we are living in Vrindavan, wherever there's a chanting of the holy name, wherever there's activities of devotional service, that is Vrindavan, isn't it? Vrindavan is not simply some geographical place, but Vrindavan is is a mentality or consciousness that everyone can actually develop simply by cultivating this knowledge, by developing this culture. Yes. These are all transcendental pastimes of the Lord, which are totally inaccessible to those who are impersonalists. So any comments or questions on this topic? He's asking you to ask a question. Actually, yeah. I think we're getting more birds around here because it's a nice place. Everyone likes to go to a peaceful place, where there's nice vibration, good vibration. I mean, there cannot be better vibration than Krishna's related vibrations. Mataji, do you have any question? Yes? No question? Okay. So we can have a little extra time for chanting Hare Krishna and hearing our Shanai this morning. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai Srila Prabhupada.